It says his name.
When a vowel is long,
It says his name. When the
Even numbers end with 0 and 2, 4 and 6, 8 is the last again. Even numbers end with 0 and 2, 4 and 6, 8 is the last. Hi everyone, my name is Unita Olorukayat, but you can call me Miss Brookie.
So hello everyone. Hello.
Miss Ricky is a tutor. She is a dancer, a singer, basketballer to an extent. I'm a lot of things. I'm entrepreneurial by nature. Like so, today is not about who Miss Ricky is. Today is actually about how we can make education fun for our children, even at home. There are some easy ways, easy things that we parents, teachers, guardians, and maybe older ones at home can help children learn better. So I've noticed that in the course of my journey as a teacher, I have been able to help a lot of children learn and to read, better than anyone they know or anyone in their lives thought they would be able to. I've been able to help children improve in their reading, even at ages that one wouldn't even expect. Um, some of the children I've helped have had this difficulty for over a decade. I have a student who is going to GSS1, and he can't even say what sounds of letters have. And I've been able to use sounds even before I got a hang on what phonics was. And so now I'm also a student. I'm learning how to use the phonics, and I think it's way easier because I already used phonics before the normal, professional way of using it. So what I want to actually talk about today is that we should try to inculcate fun activities in our teaching. Please do not rely on whether the school that you're teaching at, you do not treat things like, well, it's just a home lesson or it's just my child's homework. There are a lot of things that we can actually make our lives easier with in the course of teaching our children or our students. So some of the things that I use to help to get my students to be active in class is stickers and cards and all of that. And some of this I'm going to share with us today. So if you look at this, it obviously looks like somebody who is sad. So I use this to tell my children how, or my students how I'm feeling, whether I'm having an online class or a face-to-face class. I use this to show my children when I'm sad or when I'm not happy with their attitude towards the learning. And it's a fun way to tell them instead of yelling, instead of saying, "Will you stop that? Will you shut up? I'm going to do this." I just when I flash them this, when I flash this at them, they know that I'm sad and I'm not happy, and they don't like it. They don't like to see me sad. We need to psychoanalyze these children. We need to, as the street word would say, psych them, like wind them sometimes to bring them to our level. Otherwise, they will only see learning as some type of punishment. That's how it feels. Especially, the way it feels when you're going to a job that you don't like. That's how learning feels to children who don't find it easy, right? So while we're trying to help them to learn easily or easier, let us also try to make it fun for them. It's very important. And when I showed my children that I'm sad, most of the time, some of them will say, "I'm sorry, Miss Ruki, I'll sit right." If that was what we were complaining about, some of them would say, "I'm sorry, Miss Ruki, I'll write it now." And I always like to let my students do whatever they can to the best of their knowledge. So my argot, my slang, whenever I see they're finding it an exercise difficult, is I say, "Do your best and let Miss Ruki teach you the rest." Okay, so this is another one. This is angry. This is when Miss Ruki is angry. I show my student this when I'm angry. Miss Ruki is angry. When I flash a student this or a learner this, that child knows that Miss Ruki is really mad at that time, and that she or she needs to adjust. Okay, so this is when Miss Ricky is happy. Miss Ricky is happy. Right, and this is when I see that the child is maybe putting in enough effort, may not be like the best results or the best outcome you want to get, but that the child is doing his or her best. I put this out to the child, and this encourages the child to, do more. Like, oh, Miss Ricky gives me a thumbs up. Some of them will eventually relate to their parents that, oh, today Miss Ricky gives me a thumbs up and all that. So this is another one. And lastly, I'm going to show you the double thumbs up. This is the my reaction when a child has done excellently well, like perfectly well. Well, you can say there's no such word as perfect in the sense that nothing is really perfect, right? But when you say next to perfect, I show the child this, and John knows that. Oh my, it's like winning a jackpot. I'm telling you. So sorry about the noise. I live very close to the highway. Uh, we'll just have to manage the sound in the meantime till I can lay my hands on better equipment to help us like proof the noise. So these are my cards for now. I'm going to make more as we go, and I hope that parents also. So let me tell you the process of how I made this. All I had to do was browse stickers for education online, and then when I found pictures like this, I or emojis online, and when I found them, I screenshot them. And most likely, when you screenshot, it shows everything on that screen that you're screenshotting. So what I do is I now crop out exactly what I want to print out. Sorry, we'll just leave that. So I crop out exactly what I want, then I send it to my printer, who then copies. This is an A4 paper. It's on an A4, and then just laminates it and put them out into like a precise, shape according to the size of the emoji. And that's how I make this. And I believe that you can also do this. It's so easy to do and cheap. Kids deserve like more than, they deserve this or even more. And then it makes your own job as a teacher easier. It makes your responsibility as a parent who helps the child with his or her learning easier. That's the good part of these things. It makes your job easier. You won't have to stress so much. I'm telling you, I've had to deal with children who are really, really lagging in their education. And one thing I also always tell my clients is never call your child um, dullard or um, non-entity. All those words that people use. Yorubas will say olodo. All those demeaning words. They actually get to those children and they believe in them. The more you call them those names, the more they believe that's who they are. And it's disheartening when I hear people do things like that. I feel so horrible and bad. I feel like why? Like why? Why? A lot of us have gone through this kind of hardship when we're growing up. We should know better than to bring these children down mentally. Please don't tell any child that they are nothing, they are worth nothing in terms of their brains. Let's encourage them on no matter what level the child is. Let that child know that that child has done well to the best of his or her ability, but the child needs more, and that you're going to help that child get to where the child needs to get to. That's all that you need to put a child in the right frame of mind, so that whatever you're trying to impact would really would really sink. That's the easiest way for you to achieve as a teacher as well. And lastly, I want to talk to teachers who sorry guys, that's my dad going up and down the house. So it's his house, we can't restrict him, right? Okay, so as I was saying, for teachers who found themselves in this line of work by circumstance, please, I beg you, find from today, please try to sit and think about it. If you don't want to do this job, drop it. It affects the children who come your way throughout their lives. It's like their foundation. This the elementary and secondary is the foundation for children. When you do something negative with it and you rub it off on them, it sticks, it stays. It makes them something else. They don't deserve it. I mean, yes, the country has put us in this position sometimes as teachers, but imagine the children didn't choose this. They didn't choose this. They had to go to school and they had to have teachers. Please, teachers, I believe if you find your way to love this profession, you will. That's the only way you can get the blessings in it. People say that teachers are not paid well. I agree that sometimes and most times teachers are not paid well. But why don't you pay yourself first by letting yourself understand how much impact you make on the children? You don't know your worth, teachers. You are everything, everything when it comes to education, when it comes to life. Teachers are everything. Take away, take the goodness in you being opportuned to impact, because it stays with that child. Whether the child is able to reach out to you in the future or not, that child talks about it. Oh, Mrs. So Miss. So I know what, as a young teacher, I know what I have heard from my students who have taught. There was a time I saw a boy at the bus stop close to my house. I couldn't remember the face. He said hello, and then he was like, "I know, ma, you taught me when I was in social class." I was like, "Whoa!" This was when I was not teaching professionally. This was when I was out of secondary school, and because I've always loved to teach anyway. So you may think that it's easier for me to say this because I've always loved to teach, but then I want you to tap into the grace in this. Try as much as you can to make that job easier for yourself by keeping in mind that you're doing a good thing for the society, and always know that whatever goes around comes around. So the good is definitely going to come back to you. I'm telling you, it's going to come back to you. I don't want to talk much because right now I'm tempted to talk about how much good there is in loving what you do. Because the other day I was with a friend and we were talking about this actually, and I had to cite an example on how I got my online job. So I was in Lagos struggling hustle. I had lost my school in Abeokuta. I had lost it. I sold clothes on the roadside in Oshodi. Then one morning, my dad just told me to go out there and look for a job. And he said it like it was like a premonition. He said it like God told him to call me to tell me that, and it sank. I couldn't wait for the next morning, and I went in search of a job. Like I dressed up, got my certificates and everything, and I went into Lekki Phase One, not checking out places to see if I could get a job. I got a job the next day as a salesperson, not by walking on the street, but I was like, okay. I was there in Lekki Phase One. Eventually, I got to a place. They told me to come back in the evening. I couldn't leave Lekki, so I called a sister friend to tell her that I was in Lekki and all that. I don't remember how it went, but I remember she said, "Oh, my friend wants a salesperson in Lekki there." I was like, "Really?" And she was like, "Okay, but she's going to come out. She's going to be around at this hour." I said, "Okay, I'll wait as well. I'll wait for that and wait for the one I came for." So I waited and I got the job as a salesperson. And then one day, a woman walks in looking so natural. She wasn't looking like all these Lekki madam. She was looking so, so ordinary. But what we were in accounting, as when she talks, you can see that she's educated and exposed. So she told me point blank, she's not here to buy. She's here to window shop. And I showed her almost everything. Just she only had to point at anything, and I'm getting to her, telling her what because I really wanted to make sales for my boss, make a difference at the shop. So I literally brought everything. Sometimes she would point at things on the rack, like high on the rack, and I would still climb and get them down for her. And she was like, "Wow, that this beats her imagination," and that's how we became friends. Eventually, she found out about my love and my flair for education, and she was wondering the online job. She wanted to leave the online job, and she said the first person that came to her mind to give the opportunity to was me, and that's how she introduced me to the company. And now I tutor children in America. If that's it, and this is like the major earning I have in my life right now. This is like the major stability in my life right now. which means that it would have been more than this, and I could have lost it just by treating her as a window shopper. I love you guys so much, and remember, you can always call me Miss Rookie. I love you guys. Bye. Remember to share, thumbs up, and subscribe. Please don't forget to do that for me because I need this channel to grow. It will encourage me. I love you guys so much.